All right, good evening. Welcome, everybody. We appreciate your patience. Just had a slight little technical difficulty there, but I think we're in good shape. This is how we do public meetings during COVID, right? So we did have a public meeting on this subject some time ago at the Ballston Lake Firehouse, where we reviewed the new Ashdown Bridge replacement project. It was very well attended, and basically at that meeting we gave a full overview of the project and the timeline, and the project was scheduled to begin and conclude in 2020. Obviously that did not happen, and it was pushed to 2021, so here we are again. As far as what has changed from year to year, not a huge change. Basically, it's the time frame, and we're going to go through that tonight. As you might expect, in these circumstances with COVID, the availability of materials and other issues that may arise through the preparation process before a project goes to the construction phase, the time frame can change. Originally we were hoping April, now it's looking more like May. So, but we'll keep everybody apprised of any changes in that time frame as we move forward. I felt the key was to ensure that we get as much information out to you, the people that are going to be most affected by it on Ashdown Road, as early as possible, just to let you know what was occurring and how this project was going to take place in 2021. So I do appreciate you being with us tonight. I think we got some folks on the phone as well to ask questions, and I just want to introduce everybody that's here tonight. I'm Phil Barrett, Town Supervisor, Town of Clifton Park. The main person that'll be giving the presentation tonight is Matt Hunt from Creighton Manning Engineers. They are the project manager. The winning bidder on the project was Betty and Kring, so they will be the contractor. Also with us tonight is our Public Works Commissioner for Saratoga County, Chad Cook, and Assistant Tom Spezial. This is a county project, and I appreciate all these folks being here tonight to make sure that we're disseminating as much information to you as possible in a timely manner. So again, Matt's going to go through his presentation, hit some high points of the project, and then we did leave a call-in number as part of the letter that was sent to all the residents on Ashdown in that vicinity, where you could call in and ask questions. So thank you for your patience as we go through this kind of unorthodox process. We'd much rather be in person. It's a much better setting, but for now, we'll take this route. After the meeting, if there are any questions at all, we're going to provide you some contact information. I'll give you my contact information now. It's easily found on the town website. P as in Phil, Barrett, B-A-R-R-E-T-T, at cliftonpark.org. So you can email me with questions at any time as well. So now I'm going to hand it over to Matt Hunt from Creighton Manning. Matt.
All right, thank you. So this is the public information meeting for Ashdown Road Bridge Replacement Project, Town of Clifton Park, Saratoga County. Phil went through it a little bit here, but the bridge owner and project sponsor is Saratoga County, and of course Ashdown is Town Road, Town of Clifton Park. And we are spanning the Canadian Pacific Railway, so they will have a part in this too during construction. I am from Creighton Manning Engineering. We are the design and the inspection consultants. And the apparent low bid has not been awarded quite yet, but the contractor should be Betty and Crane Construction Group out of Latham. The low bid came in at about $1.57 million, which is actually a good price for this project. And that'll be paid for 80% federal funds, 15% state, and the county picks up the additional 5%. So this graphic is the same one we showed back in, I believe it was October 2019 when we did the first one. And you're probably not going to be able to see a bunch of detail there, but it gives you the limits of of the reconstruction. It's from the driveway on the north or east side down through. There's like a little pull off over here. We are impacting a driveway. That's the Walsh property, and then we got a temporary easement for that work, and then we also have a temporary easement from the Madden property in the opposite quadrant of that driveway, and that's just to access the railroad from the little cul-de-sac that's there. The bridge is strictly a superstructure replacement. So what that means is the steel beams and the concrete driving surface will be removed. We will make some repairs and modifications to the substructures, and then we'll put new beams and a new concrete deck on there, along with new railing and new asphalt and everything. Unfortunately, the existing bridge only had 22 feet of clearance over the railroad, which is 1 foot short of what it should be. So we did have to raise the road a bit, and that's the reason that the reconstruction length is so significant there, as well as the impact to the Walsh driveway is so significant. But at the end of the day, you have to do that to make sure that your road is not going to get too steep. And that's that. So CP rail through the middle here, they will have, like I said, they will have some people on site during construction, which is a little bit of a coordination effort there, but that's what Creighton Manning is for, is to do that coordination. During construction, the bridge will be closed. Again, this is similar to what we showed the last time. Being a county project, county typically likes to stay with like or better roadways for detours, so that means county roads and state roads. And in this particular case, we're going to use 146A to Lake Hill Road, to Kingsley Road, to Blue Barns Road, and that will get you from one end of Ashdown to the other. It's obviously an inconvenience for everybody on the road as well as commuters, but this sort of construction would be near impossible to do while maintaining traffic on site. So, it's kind of one of those rip the Band-Aid off as quick as possible sort of deals, where we get in there, replace the bridge, and then get it back open. And even with that being the signed detour route, we understand that local folks and commuters that usually go through the site are probably going to redirect to whatever makes the most sense for them. As far as the schedule goes, Phil touched on that a little bit. So here we are in February with the information meeting. Contractor plans to mobilize sometime in May. They didn't have a specific date yet, but they will most likely close the bridge almost immediately upon getting on site. And the purpose of that is to, in July, set the new superstructure. And the entire goal here is to only impact one school year. So we're hoping that the bridge is open by September, so that the regular bus routes can be maintained next year. Prior to the bridge being closed, the contractor will install signs at the site indicating when the closure date is. That will be at least two weeks in advance. And on top of that, the county, as well as our resident engineer inspector, will reach out to emergency services, schools, and other sorts of local organizations to let everyone know what that date is for closure. So what can you expect? Well, Creighton Manning is the inspection firm on this, and we will have at least one, sometimes two people on site at all times during construction. And that's to make sure that the contractor installs everything per plan, and we don't have any issues in that regard. I did mention that the CP rail folks will be on site as well, and that's to coordinate any trains that come through the site. When that happens, the contractor has to stop work and wait for the train to pass. So again, closure time is most likely middle of May through the end of August, with the purpose of being open by the time school starts in September. There will be daytime work only, so obviously construction is noisy, and there are houses nearby, so construction noise is a thing of life in this sort of situation, but we are not going to work at night. And we will be closing this segment around the bridge. So there was the driveway on the northeast. So we'll close right around there, allow them full-time use of their driveway, obviously. And then the Walsh property driveway will remain open for the residents there. However, they will close the road a bit down further, which has a nice spot for a turnaround in case anybody goes past the road closed signs. Typical construction noise, excavators, portable generators or compressors, jackhammers. The photo that you can potentially see here has a jackhammer at the end of an excavator, and that's what they use to remove the concrete driving surface. And then beyond that, backup beepers and that sort of thing from dump trucks. We do anticipate construction being, basically continuous through the summer. We don't plan on having any shutdowns at any time because there's plenty of work to be done. And, like I said, we want to make sure that the road is open for the school year. And then contacts Phil mentioned, we have a list of contacts here. We will have a resident engineer who has not been identified yet. That would be during construction. If you see a safety concern or have a question about, if you live in the area and have a question about something in particular, you can always reach out to that person, and that would be your best bet as far as what's actually happening on site. If you're not satisfied with that answer, you can't come across that person, we have a construction manager, Brian Jones. His office number is 518-689-1869. They can be reached next. Beyond that, I'm Matt Hunt, project manager, and my number is 518-689-1894. And as far as the county goes, you can always contact the DPW Commissioner, Chad Cook, at 518-885-2235. And Phil already gave his email, but his phone number is also 518-371-665. So again, if you have any questions or you see something that doesn't seem right, by all means reach out to the resident engineer and then cascade down the list from there. And with that, that's basically what we have to present tonight. And as Phil mentioned, we're available for questions through the call-in number.
Yeah, this is Phil Barrett again, and Matt, I'll just ask you a couple of questions that people have sent prior. As far as the time frame itself, can we go back to that? Because I think that's really one of the main concerns that people have. Obviously, they know it's going to be an inconvenience because the road will be shut down for a number of months. But as we look into May, okay, because that seems to be the new time frame as far as when it might start, what can people expect in May and June as opposed to when they really get into setting the superstructure and moving forward? I think there's two things. One, it's obviously the traffic interruption, but what about debris? What about, any noise? Any effect on nearby properties? That kind of thing. I think that's something that people are very interested in knowing.
Sure. So as I mentioned, they will post a sign 2 weeks in advance at each bridge approach, so you'll see it in either direction. That way you'll know the exact date that the bridge will close. The contractor will put up the detour signage to direct folks around the site, and then upon that closure date, they'll put up barricades so that nobody can get into the site except for construction personnel, and they'll start right away. removing asphalt roadway, removing the concrete deck, removing the railing, and then getting those beams out. So that would be, the May-June timeframe. That's kind of what you'd expect. So that picture of the excavator with the hammer on it, there'll be that. There'll be the backup beepers from the equipment, probably air compressors for handheld jackhammer type things. As far as the driveway access in the area, those will always remain open. The contractor does not have authorization to close anyone's driveway, and if the need does arise, they need to coordinate with the property owner, and if that is not feasible for the property owner, they need to figure out a different way.
Sure.
And that's, we have somebody on site to make sure that they don't take advantage of that situation. Impacts to properties, as I mentioned, there are 2 temporary easements. So the Madden parcel in the southwest corner near the cul-de-sac for Way 2 Lane, that's the most accessible area for the railroad tracks. So we did get that temporary easement so they can move any equipment in and out through that corner. And then again, the Walsh driveway, not immediately impacted, but as the road profile is raised up, that will be reconstructed. And again, there'll probably be some short-term, blockages. Obviously, the driveway is wide enough for a piece of equipment, so they'll have to coordinate that ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that prep work is done and the substructures are repaired and modified as needed, they'll bring a crane on site to lift the new beams in place, and then the concrete folks will come in, place rebar, which is not very noisy, and then after that there'll be a concrete deck pour, so there'll be a concrete pump truck, lots of backup beepers for the concrete trucks throughout the day, and then that'll take a month or so for the concrete to cure, and we envision in the meantime they'll be starting the approach work, so bring in more fill and build up the approaches. So again, backup beepers for dump trucks, excavators, bulldozers, that sort of thing. And then of course toward the end you're going to get into some paving and smell the blacktop, but should only be a day or two, not too bad.
Good.
And that'll be that.
Now, we and certainly everybody that lives in the area would like to see the contractors in and out as quickly as possible and get the project over with. But obviously, there's also limits to when people can work and what days. So, what can people expect as far as the time frame during a Monday through Friday? And is there any point where they have any need to work additional days of the week?
We don't know that right now as far as working the weekend. I would anticipate at the start that would be a no if they somehow get behind with on the schedule because of weather or whatever they may need to.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as during the day, that's really driven by the CP rail flaggers who do not work overtime that I'm aware. I don't know if they have some agreement where they can. So I would not expect anything greater than the standard, maybe 7 to 4, somewhere in that vicinity. It's not going to be super early and it's not going to be super late at night.
Yeah, because we have, town code that does stipulate when work can start. So 7 o'clock would fit that. But I think that's important, especially as you get into the summer months, so people know the time frame during the day. So basically what I'm hearing is there won't be necessarily work on the weekends unless weather gets in the way, delays the project, or, there could be a task that can't wait through a weekend, right? But any work on the weekend, as far as right now is concerned, would be minimal to none.
Right, as far as we know, that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. All right, well, that too is important. How about any, there are some homes that are fairly close by. And believe me, when there's a construction project in the vicinity of your house, it probably feels like they're right on top of you, right?
Yeah.
So what can those folks expect? I mean, are there any issues with vibration or anything of that sort as the construction's taking place?
We haven't run into that previously. I mean, I can't speak, in absolutes. But generally speaking, the one house that's to the northeast, in my opinion, is far enough away that it won't matter.
Okay.
We're not driving piles or anything that's a repetitive pounding other than the concrete deck. But in that case, that's not going to transfer through to the ground. That's going to be mostly kept within the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, it's just standard, heavy equipment on the roadway, which it's a robust road, so it should hold up fine.
Okay. All right, I just want to, this was included in the letter that I sent to all the homeowners in the area, but the phone-in number is 1-605-472-5678, access code 991-475. So it's 605-472-5678, access code 991-475 if you want to ask a question. So we've talked about the time frame, the timeline, any possible inconvenience to the direct property owners other than the road being shut down. Some people have asked is the project include a complete shutting of the road? Is there a way that they could keep one lane open? Why wouldn't we do that in this case for the folks that have asked?
Yep, I'm sure you've seen that many times where that is the case. In this particular case, the superstructure only has 4 beams. So if you were to try to keep half of it open, you'd have to take 2 off and leave 2. And that is, it's not impossible to do, but it's frowned upon just because of stability. You like to have a 3 girder system to ensure the stability of the overall bridge. Additionally, since we are raising the road so much, you'd be left with a situation where one lane is, a foot or more higher than the lane right next to it. And in that case, you have to protect that.
Yeah.
So then you're getting wider, and at that point, the bridge isn't quite wide enough to deal with it. The bridge and the approaches. So, again, it is an inconvenience, which is unfortunate, but this will cut. If you staged it, you'd probably add a month and a half to the project, at least, if not 2. We try to deal with it for a little bit less time and a little more inconvenience.
So it really comes down to safety and time.
Correct.
Yeah. So and time equals cost, certainly.
Certainly does.
This is a county project. It is grant funded, predominantly. But I guess those are obviously valid reasons for time and safety,
Certainly.
particularly safety, as far as why we would close the road completely. So the goal is, as Matt said, that the road and the bridge are open before the next school year, and that has been and continues to be a goal that hopefully will be met. I guess the only factors that could really hurt the time frame, particularly that we know of, would be weather.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, that's something that's out of their control. Is there anything else that you think would be important to the folks that live there and will share in this inconvenience, unfortunately?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's anything else. Again, just if you see anything that doesn't seem right or you have a concern about something, by all means reach out. We don't want anybody, harboring any ill will toward the project. So if something needs to be fixed, we can certainly look to address it.
Okay. Is there anybody on the line that has a question? Yeah, I turned that down. Yeah. Anybody on the line that has a question? Okay. Anything that you'd like to add, Chad?
I'm all set, looking forward to the project.
Okay, very good. So, So with that, again, I want to thank Matt from Creighton Manning, and Chad Cooks, Tom Spezial from Saratoga County Public Works, so we could disseminate some of this information. Again, I appreciate your patience. Not the best of situations. We'd much rather be in person at the Ballston Lake Firehouse like we were before. But like I said in the beginning, any questions that you might have, pbarrett@cliftonpark.org. Matt also detailed contact number for the engineering firm as well as the county, and we want to make sure that any questions you have get answered. So please contact us, and as changes occur, and they might, as the progress of the project continues through the summer, we will post information on the town website, www.cliftonpark.org. So I want to thank everybody that's online that joined us this evening, and I know the goal is to make this project is the least inconvenience to you as possible. I know that's a tough thing to say right now when we're going to shut the road down for a few months, but it is something that has to be done for the long-term safety of that bridge and roadway. So thank you all again, and we'll continue on and get this project done. Thank you.